Hey guys, I am Colleen and I'm a person. I like to read and I like to write, but I do whatever on this channel. And today, I am begging you. This is my bat signal. Somebody help me. Where are the vampires? Where are whoever controls like the trend cycle for book tropes and book themes? How could we bring back Divergent, Hunger Games type things, like survivalish type fiction, and not vampires? We are well into fall and heading into spooky season, like Halloween and stuff. And I still haven't found like a decent, like a really genuine 5-star vampire read. I don't know where they are. I keep finding like old ones, like really long-standing old ancient ones. I mean, the irony is clear. I really just want to find it, and somebody help me, like a really good one, a really good spicy vampire one. Where are they? Excuse? That was actually the main point of the video, like a plea for vampire romance book recommendations. But I'm also going to be discussing with you some paranormal romances that I've been reading, since I can't find like all vampire ones. And yeah, by the way, preferably urban fantasy, but I'll take any good honest to god vampire books. If you have any recommendations of good ones that will not make me want to pluck my eyes out. Let's get into the paranormal romances that I've been reading. I read 3, and then I'm currently reading 1, and I have a bit to say about it. So yeah, let's get into it. The first one is Thanks for Nothing. This is a vampire one. It's about a hoarder, like a hobby hyperfixation type hoarder vampire who hires a professional organizer to fix his castle in preparation for like a ball, like a party. The Halloween vibes are there, which I loved about this book. It's giving book girlies in a Halloween town in October, if that makes sense. It's a really like cozy, mildly it's not spooky, but you know, that vibe, like a fall walk through a cemetery. Here I go again. Walk through a cemetery vibe, but you know, cozy. Both mains fall kind of early. The attraction between them is instant, and the intimate scene ish kind of happens early in the book, so be warned about that. Like 35-40-ish%. Construction, again, I swear to god, they do not rest, not on holidays, not on weekends. This book, it was 600 pages, and you can bet your ass that the author used every page of that, every word of that. It was kind of chaotic, but it grows on you, it gets kind of endearing, if that makes sense. And there was an abundance of tropes. There was fake dating, arranged marriage, difficult mother, grumpy ex-sunshine. Everything was there. They could not catch a break. It was a bit chaotic. I don't know if that's for everyone, but yeah, it was kind of hectic, but I found it endearing, and like it was fun. A fun, like a roller coaster sort of thing. And it would jump from one chaotic situation to another, which can kind of make you disoriented. Sometimes the primary and secondary plots were running at the same time without a breather for either one. Of course, there's a romance, and there's another, like, spoilers. There's a killer element, and they're looking for the killer. It's like a Nancy Drew type thing. But yeah, they're looking for a killer, and sometimes those two plot lines are running at the same time, and you don't know what to focus on, if that makes sense. Yeah, you would just kind of get swept up into it, I suppose. While I did enjoy it, it's It's kind of everything at once. It's the first of a series, I believe. So it was trying to set up the world and all the give background to all the other characters in preparation for their book, their romances. There was the hoarding element, some portrayals of that, and then the vampire and the trauma healing, trauma bonding going on. It was a lot and all at once, and yeah, a roller coaster indeed. Another thing about this book that I really, really liked is the detailed discussion on hoarding. And I felt like it did a really thorough job of describing how it impacts the people around, not only the person who has the condition, but also the people around that person, like familial relationships, and how difficult it is for one person to keep someone with trauma afloat, if that makes sense. It sort of delves into that kind of issue, which I really liked. It wasn't offensive or anything. It was thorough, and you could see how a person with that kind of condition would, how easily it is for them to slip, if that makes sense. They could be doing really well, and then something triggers, and then it's a slippery slope, basically. And yeah, I thought the book did a really good job of discussing that. Even though there were a lot of things happening, the book kept a steady, slow-ish pace for everything that was happening. So it was a lot, if that makes sense. It was a lot, but it was slow. And I found myself having to grit my teeth sometimes because of the pace. That being said, I still really liked it. It was chaotic, but sort of goofy in a way, and I had audible reactions at times because I could not believe what was happening in the book. And yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's definitely book one, lots of build up for the rest of the series, and I think give it a read. So the next book that I've read is Hot Hex Boyfriend. This one is about witches. The Thanks for Nothing is obviously about vampires, and this one is about witches. And the premise is a family of heart witches. I'll get into that later. A family of heart witches who have been hexed for a long time. They're unable to use their powers, accidentally break like the curse on them, and they're suddenly able to use all these powers. And on the other side, a group of no a family of logic witches sort of learn the value of familial relationships from these heart witches, and yeah, both help each other out somehow. And it was so super, super fun. I mean, witches, the general idea is not the most original, but I like this take on it because the author made a particular classification of witches depending on the part of the being the witch draws from the most, if that makes sense. Like, there are logic, like brain witches, and there are heart witches, and there are spirit witches, and there are body witches. It's not super serious a book, but the concept is really detailed, which I liked. The mains are called Maximus and Cordelia. Yeah. So with this book, you come for the autumnal vibes, but you stay for the familial relationships. The family of heart witches, they're really, really close and sort of kooky, and I just loved the way that the family was portrayed in the story and how they interacted with each other, and everything was like a goofy time and a fun time with them. Romance wise, with Hot Hex Boyfriend, it was sweet, it was cute, but definitely more on the mild side. It's more of an adventure, if you ask me. So apart from the main plot, which is like the family of heart witches breaking their hex and all that, there's also like a bigger macro macro, like a secondary, bigger plot about magic rationing. And I really, really like how detailed it is. Again, not super serious, but if you would put it in a really serious book, it would fit right in because it's a really interesting, unique concept. Their magic was being rationed like pixie dust, where they give you your ration of pixie dust, their magic, for a year, and there's some shenaniganizing about the amount that each person gets. With this book, there were a lot of supporting characters, and they're all colorful and comedic and heartwarming, which I really loved. A lot of people in their town, the aunties in the family, the best friend. I really liked how they fulfilled their roles in the story. That freaking construction next door is going to be the actual death of me, because I'm getting so riled just sitting here yapping while they are, I swear, shaking sheets of metal next door. The pacing of this book will make you sweat a little because it pushed all the exciting bits towards the end, which typically I'm not a fan of because you end up falling short towards the end. Like, the epilogue is not enough. But with this, rest assured that even if you get a little nervous because nothing seems to be happening and everything seems to be going slowly, it covers everything and everything goes as planned. Nothing is rushed or anything. The humor in this book, I think, is really understated. It's like Texas centric meets magic, if that even makes sense. There was a lot of not too in your face humor, with regards to tradition, religion, manners, everything that Texas is known for. This is the first time I'm reading about a work of this particular author, but I don't know if she's a Texan, but I feel like it was written by someone who lives there, or at least someone who has spent time there. Does that make sense? Because I feel like they have a really in-depth knowledge of the mannerisms of the people and the subculture. Not too in your face, but still very funny. It's humor that goes beyond a few Texas catchphrases, if that makes sense. Like the ones that usually appear on Google. I don't know if this is actually a thing in Texas, but there was a part in the book, spoilers, where they go to this cafe and the cafe serves funeral food without the funeral. Like, they're so known for good, delicious funeral comfort food that they built a restaurant that serves funeral food, but there's no funeral. That makes sense. What a business idea if that's not an actual thing in Texas, but I think it is. I have a hunch that it is. And I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. I really like this book. Very highly recommend. And I cannot wait for the next book. I'm hoping it's Amy and Luke's book. I am shipping them together. I do not know if they are the characters in the next book, but I'm hoping. I am hoping. And I cannot wait to find out more about this world. Let's prepare to get absolutely furious, blind with rage. I searched on one of those forums on Reddit that gives you suggestions for what to read, and someone suggested The Tyrant Alpha's Rejected Mate, and I swear I was blind with rage several times in this book. The mains are called Killian and Una. They're part of a pack of wolves. This is about werewolves, shifters, and first of all, Killian, as dumb and as backwards as a box of rocks. Una, I have no problem with her character. I think she has a strong belief system, but I just do not know why the author made her seem like such a down on her luck, like a really, really I don't know, the descriptions. She was described as plain, defective. Yes, they actually used the word defective. She walked with a limp because of a previous accident. No, not accident. She saved someone and then she got the leg injured. And then it was such a backward ass town that I found myself checking several times, checking and rechecking again and rechecking again if this was written by a man. I swear to God, I thought I was having thoughts. I was having enraged thoughts. But yeah, let's stick to the notes before I get too angry. Okay, Killian, as an alpha, as a man, as a leader, he was not it. He was not it. I really was confused and was mad. Who is this for? Like, who is this book for? Because I do not think that any self-respecting female would read about this man and go, what a guy. Prince Charming, my hero. He was such a brute. And the way that he thought about other people and women especially was so backwards. This current regime, Killian's time, he took over from his father, and the book really stressed that it was a worse time when it was his father's time because women were getting beat up and abused and harassed and all that. And he's like, pat myself on the back because I don't allow people to harass these defective women. Sir, if you call them defective, you are still scum. You are rung up from the previous administration, but you are still trash. I don't know. I don't know the phrasing of this book. I was so mad. I don't even know. I have read enough werewolf-themed books to know that the culture inside of like a werewolf pack, it's always very hierarchical, and yeah, there is always an element of survival of the fittest, and most of the time those are the males in the pack. But this book really took it a step too far. This is not even a pack. It's just a group of Chad living in the caveman era. A town of Neanderthals, I swear. They even had like a roster system of this, like group A are the stronger people. And if you manage to defeat one of the group A guys, you get to go to group A from group B, and yeah, it goes all the way to Z. I don't know. Let's talk about the romance or lack thereof. As I said, I have read many werewolf book in my time, and the appeal of the fated mates thing, a strong, sort of rigid, He-Man type of guy, while he can be like bullheaded at times, the fated mate is always the line, the limit. Strong, manly man is delicate for this one person. That's always been the appeal of it. There's some discussion about why fated mates is a bit off-putting to some because they're thinking about the lack of choice in some angles. But yeah, there's always been that appeal, right? This book did not have that. This book was not it. Because while there were fated mates, there was no loyalty. Mated pack members were still like dipping their wick everywhere, like whoever, the next door neighbor, the person from across the street, I do not know. There was so much like hopping and dipping their wicks wherever, not just the males, also the females in the pack. It really diminished the appeal of the fated mate situation. Yeah, to the point of nothing. I wrote some lines from the book. There's this line that goes, "The pack is all about who you fight and who you Again, this is one of the points where I checked again. if this was by a guy, did a guy write this? It was so extreme. Since this is a very, very much a grovel romance, the grovel was satisfying. That's a large part as to why I could keep on reading. I liked the grovel because it was lengthy, and Una, the MC, she wasn't the forgiving sort. She had, like I said, a strong belief system, and she really let him know where he was wrong and what about his behavior upset her and all that. It was a struggle for him, which is nice. But even when their romance was already flourishing and it was going strong, there was still a lot of sexist undertones, not only in the village, the pack, but in Killian's mind. He was creating change for these people, for the pack, being more progressive because he wanted to appease Una, not because he actually believed that there was some merit to progress. That's not his mindset. He just wanted to please the girl. I know that the book sort of stressed how pack is different, wolves are not humans, to excuse how backwards it is in the pack. There was some language about we're not humans, we don't interact with each other the same way. But sis, the readers are humans. Find the line. I know that it's fiction and, all the usual arguments, and to a degree I can agree with that, but this is way too extreme. Maybe I'm even recommending read it just so you can see where I'm coming from. I need to feel vindicated about this because it's so, I don't know, it was so backwards, it was so sexist, everyone was so annoying. It was a testosterone overload, if that even makes sense. And the kind of ideal romance it's perpetuating is disgusting, and no. It's a no for me. And all the stuff about her virginity, there was some language about that, and it was so annoying. I do not know. It's truly a miracle that I finished this, and I am now apprehensive about checking out other werewolf ones because I have seen how extreme it can get. And yeah, that's that on that. Give it a read if you want to know why I'm so mad, but beyond that, I do not recommend if you don't want to get mad. Those were all the paranormal romances that I read. That was not that many, that's just 3. I cannot for the life of me find a decent paranormal romance right now. The autumnal books must already be out because the Christmas books are already out. I don't know, maybe it's my search terms. But yeah, if I find anything good and Halloweeny and like ooky spooky fall vibes, I will let you know. But for now, that's it. I'm currently reading Love vs. Scarecrow by Cassandra Gannon. First of all, the covers of her books are so good, like an old comic type book. I haven't finished it yet, but what I've read so far is like really witty descriptions and dialogue. I can already tell that I am going to like it. This is set in the 2000s, and there's like the prologue is even earlier, and I don't usually like non-current settings in books, but I really like this. It's giving like Hey Georgie vibes. It's a beautiful time capsule sort of book. Martin Mystery, if you guys know that show, Martin Mystery meets Jeepers Creepers for me so far. And yeah, what beautiful writing, witty phrasing, clear imagery, and I can already tell that I'm going to be hooked on a lot of her books. And yeah, those are all my recent reads, paranormal romance recent reads. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any vampire romance recommendations, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!